A to Z Mysteries, Super Edition 2, Mayflower Treasure Hunt by Ron Roy. Chapter 9. The kids waited in room 203, right across the hall from 202. They took turns peeking out the little peephole. Poor old Clint is sure gonna be surprised when he finds out there's nothing but jammies inside your bear, Ruth Rose, Josh said. And 3 cops in the closet, Ruth Rose added. Dink kept his eye on the peephole. Josh picked up a magazine and began reading. Ruth Rose did a crossword puzzle. Suddenly, Dink yelled, "Oh no!" Josh bolted up on the bed and Ruth Rose froze. "Is it Clint?" Josh asked. "No, it's them," Dink said, throwing open the door. Standing in the hallway, surrounded by luggage, were Dink's parents and Josh's and Ruth Rose's families. "Look who I found in the lobby," Dink's mom said. His father came to give Dink a hug, but Dink dragged him into room 203. "Everybody, you have to get in here now," Dink hissed, "and be quiet." "What do you mean?" Ruth Rose's dad asked. "What's going on?" "Mom and Dad, please, everyone just come in, okay?" Ruth Rose said. "We'll explain." "Okay, but this is pretty mysterious," Ruth Rose's mother muttered. The 6 adults and 3 little kids all lugged their stuff into room 203. Dink closed the door and locked it. "Okay, now everyone has to be real quiet," Dink said. "Especially you 2, Josh told his twin brothers, Brian and Bradley. "We're always quiet," Brian yelled. "But I'm the quietest," Bradley yelled. "Guys, this is serious," Dink said. "So if everyone could just please sit down somewhere, Josh, Ruth Rose, and I will tell you what's going on." When Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose had finished telling the story, their families stared at them. No one said a word. Even the twins and Nate sat with their mouths open. "If I have this right, we're waiting for this thief to show up and burgle Ruth Rose's room," Dink's mother finally said. "Why wasn't I informed of this scheme?" Dink gulped. "We didn't really think of it till after you left," he said. "But don't worry, the cops are across the hall." "This is the most exciting Thanksgiving I've ever had," said Ruth Rose's brother Nate. "Cops and robbers is a lot more fun than eating turkey." Dink's father glanced at his watch. "It's after 12. When is this burglary supposed to happen?" he asked. Suddenly, they all heard a loud voice yell, "Freeze, police!" "It's Clint!" Dink cried. "They got him!" Josh ran for the door. "You freeze too, young man," Josh's father said. "No one goes into the hall until the police say it's safe." He turned around and put his eye to the peephole. After 3 or 4 long minutes, they all heard a light knock on the door. Josh's father opened it. 3 police officers stood there surrounding Clint. He was in handcuffs. "Mission accomplished," the female officer said. She handed the teddy bear to Ruth Rose. Clint looked at Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose. "I'm really sorry," he mumbled. The kids didn't say anything. Ruth Rose hugged her teddy bear as the officers led Clint down the long hallway toward the elevators. The 3 families unpacked. There was a lot of laughter and confusion as the adults decided who would sleep where. Dink's father kept muttering to Dink, "I let you out of my sight for 2 days, and suddenly there are trap doors and burglars," he said. "Why can't you kids just watch TV like normal kids?" Dink laughed. "Because you keep telling me not to watch TV," he said. then added slyly, "And I always do what you tell me to do." This got a laugh from Dink's mom. Finally, everyone was settled and unpacked. They all decided to spend the afternoon at Plymouth Plantation, a reconstruction of the original Plymouth colony. It was a short drive from the hotel. After they parked, the three families walked into the village. They saw small wooden homes with thatched roofs. Men, women, and children worked and played. They were all dressed the way people from England would have dressed in the early 1600s. The group split up and agreed to meet back at the entrance in 1 hour. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose wandered along the gravel paths. They peeked inside homes where women cooked, sewed, or did other chores. They watched men in a field chopping wood. "This is how the village looked in 1627, Ruth Rose read from her guidebook. "They even shared a cow so everyone could have milk." Josh stopped in front of a small building. It had only one small window with stout wooden bars. A man in dark clothing was standing in the doorway. "This is the village jail," he explained to the kids. "Wrongdoers had to spend time in here." "What kind of crimes did they commit?" Josh asked. "Being lazy, not sharing, not attending church," the man said. "If you stole a pig or a hen, that would get you in here too." "I wonder if Clint will go to jail," Ruth Rose said as they kept walking. "I mean, he didn't really steal anything." "He would have if we didn't stop him," Dink said. Josh nudged Ruth Rose. "Don't forget that Clint broke into your room," he said, "and he threatened to let the rats get us." Ruth Rose shuddered. "Yeah, you're right," she said. The kids kept wandering among the homes. They saw men and women working in gardens and adding thatch to the roofs of the buildings. They looked inside a small room where a man was teaching children to learn their letters and numbers. Each child held a small slate and chalk. "I've been thinking about the necklace we found," Ruth Rose said. "I think we should donate it to the Pilgrim Hall Museum." "Excellent," Dink said. "That way everyone who visits would get to see Emma Brown's jewelry." "Cool idea, Ruth Rose," Josh agreed. "Remember that pamphlet about the meddlesome Mayflower mystery? Well, if we give the necklace to the museum, people can see the necklace and know the mystery has been solved." Chapter 10. The next day, the 12 family members walked to a restaurant called the Pilgrim's Pantry. The sun was out and last night's snow had melted. Inside, they were greeted by a woman dressed in a white shirt, a long dark apron, and a tight-fitting white bonnet. She led them to a large round table. Turkey-shaped name cards had been set at each place, and everyone found his or her seat easily. Ruth Rose sat between Dink and Josh. She was wearing the fake necklace. In honor of the holiday, she had chosen pumpkin orange as her color for the day. "The police called and told us you were right about the mints, Dink," his father said. "They were in the Mayflower 2 hold on the deck, and they were able to get Clint's fingerprints off them." "So Clint's mints had prints," Josh joked, waggling his eyebrows. "That was a great idea you kids had, to give the necklace to the museum," Josh's father said. "I'm sure they'll love to have it." He winked at the kids. "And of course, they'd need a picture of you three ace detectives." "Awesome," Josh said. "I'm going to be in a museum." A waiter approached their table. He wore black breeches, a white ruffled shirt, and clunky black shoes. "Good afternoon," he said. Today we're serving from our regular menu, or you can order our first Thanksgiving special 4 courses of foods the Pilgrims would really have eaten in 1621. That's what I want, Dink said. Did the Pilgrims have pumpkin pie with whipped cream? Josh asked. The waiter smiled. The early settlers had pumpkins but no sugar, so they probably didn't make pies, he said. But you can order your dessert from our regular menu. Thank goodness, Josh said. You saved me. Everyone laughed. They had turkeys, though, right? Nate asked the waiter. Yes, wild turkeys were plentiful, the man said. They also ate clams, many kinds of fish, venison, and any wild bird they could find. You folks take your time deciding, and I'll stop back in a few minutes. Indians came to Plymouth to eat with the settlers, right? Dink asked. Yes, the Wampanoag were here, his father said. They became friendly with the Pilgrims. My guidebook says almost 100 Wampanoag people showed up to eat with the Pilgrims after their first harvest, Ruth Rose said. Just then the waiter came back to take their order. The 3 little kids ordered from the regular menu. Dink, Josh, Ruth Rose, and their parents all decided to try the first Thanksgiving special. The waiter returned. He carried a tray holding small bowls and a covered soup tureen. Dink smelled something delicious. His mouth began to water. Our first course is eel stew, the man said. May I serve you? Josh's face turned white. Eels? You mean those slimy things that look like snakes? He asked the waiter. The waiter nodded. May I change to the regular menu? Josh asked.